indicate by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries. Uh,
I can hear me.
Lynn, can you hear us?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes,
Yes.
we can now.
We can
Oh,
hear
okay.
you. We can hear you, but we can't see you.
There. I'm in the car.
We know.
Okay, we just approved the minutes.
Yeah, I heard you.
And- Okay, and we'll go to the president's report. I'll have a brief report here. I was thinking of sending an email off to Jack and Mark in particular, but I think I'll take this opportunity in the president's report to tell you all what I'm thinking here. We've talked at the board level many times about making our website more user-friendly and enhancing it with search engine optimization. The tennis program is particularly concerned about this, and I know the communication committee has been working diligently on this project for several months now. And they've had their own tribulations. They've lost some members. They've had new members come on board. This COVID situation has hamstrung them to a degree. They could only conduct their business through email and phone. And it's been a rough haul for them, but I have reviewed their work and they've done very good work. And so we've had many people working on this over several months. Cezanne is assigned as the staff liaison to the communications committee and has pledged to assist in this project. So with the work of the communications committee submitted, Cezanne has recommendations and input, and I'm sure the tennis committee has some suggestions for how we can optimize the website. So with that, I'm going to ask Jack as the liaison to the communications committee and Mark to assist in pulling all groups together and taking a look at this product and see what we have, kind of bring some order to all of this, sort out everyone's concerns, disagreements, agreements, and deliver a project to the board for consideration. So Jack, if you would handle that with Mark, I and the board would appreciate some sort of order to this product.
Actually, Suzanne and I had this conversation this morning already. And,
Okay.
She and I and Mark, well, he didn't know it yet, will meet next week to begin this process.
Good to hear. And I've looked over some of the work, and I sense that the tennis committee needs to chime in at this point to make sure that the search engine optimization aspect is good with them. And Karen and her group has done a nice job and worked hard pulling a lot of this together. Some will fit, some may not fit, but that's what you have to do, is sort out all the things that can work and may not work. It could be that we may need to call Club Essentials in to do some of the things that we can't do in-house.
I suspect that's the case. And so
Yes, and if that's
we'll
the case,
winnow down the issues, and then can speak now, or we can get to her after we meet next week, but
very good.
okay.
So we'll look forward to your report. So
May I join you next week representing the tennis concerns?
Well, you can after I get an understanding of where we are. Okay, so maybe we'll do a second meeting after I get up to speed a little bit, and then so we can see what's going on, and then sure.
Okay.
yeah, there have been many people involved in months of work and a lot of tribulations. So we'll appreciate your efforts here. Okay, let's go to manager's report. Mark.
You've all gotten a chance to look at it, I'm sure. First of all, the shade shelter, all the footers are poured down there. We're just waiting for them to come in and actually install the aluminum posts for the frame of the shelter, which should be done this week. And hopefully that then they'll put up the canvas and it'll be and they'll put the pavers back down, and we'll get things started down there. And Alan's got knowledge that he has to supply electric, et cetera, to it, so that we can have fans, et cetera, in there over time.
This turned out to be a bigger project than I imagined at the onset.
As far as
Well, all the complications and the detail and the infrastructure and everything else that goes into this, it's a big project.
yeah, the footers all there was 10 footers in the whole paver area. All the pavers had to be taken up. They had to hand dig all of the holes that were 2 foot by 3 foot by 2 foot in order to pour the footers. That's for county specifications for their wind guidelines. So a lot of manual labor in that. The pool lift is
Wind
back.
is cool. Yeah,
What?
wind's a big issue down in Florida.
Yep, that's it. The pool lift is in, the new pool lift is in. On that one there, we had to take out the old one. We had to cut the concrete into the pool deck, install the new base, and have that all put together, and install the new lift, which is working now. That road project, those of you that are here pretty much saw the roads, and I think they did an amazing job. The quality of the pavement is fantastic. So,
Well, those of you who are there, what's your impression?
I think the roads look very good.
You all concur?
Yeah,
The softness of the asphalt is definitely a concern. Hopefully that will change, but I don't recall it being like this before. So we'll have to
Maybe-
keep monitoring that.
Maybe it wasn't poured in the heat of the summer the last time we did it. Normally these projects are done in the fall. So.
that's
Well,
correct.
my understanding is that that's not unusual, and it takes a while for it to cure. So during that period of time, if you twist wheels or on a stationary vehicle, it'll have a tendency to move that. But I also understand that once you roll over that area, it will compact, and as it cures, will come together again.
It is that specific to it when your daytime temperatures are and the heat index like today is at 110. You know, that asphalt, it's going to take longer to cure than it did when we did these in October, November from last year in the condo areas. So they've warned us about that. Jeff has checked with it. We've really made sure that it's the correct stuff. We have no issues on the main drag. It's just at the corner where the trucks turn around. So we've asked them to kind of take it easy on us as well.
Those big garbage trucks are not helpful for newly laid asphalt.
Right.
So I kind of talked a little bit about Brightview at the beginning before the meeting started, but just to bring you up to speed, Brightview got about a month behind in their trimming. Now, haven't gotten a lot of comment or questions or problems when it comes to the mowing and blowing and going. Haven't gotten a lot of real issues with that. We have more comments with and trimming, weed control, edging the beds, taking care of exotics, pulling them out when they go by, you know, attention to detail. We also get some, a little bit about irrigation, but not as much as we used to. They have fixed several areas of concern within the community, main lines, and a lot of lateral lines as well. They continue to maintain that integrity. We do get complaints. I got a complaint from a homeowner the other day that they were very upset. Come to find out that the gentleman had both rotors and pop-ups at the same time going on in his yard, because that's what Leo's had installed. So what happens is his sprinklers go on, the rotors spray into the driveway and onto the roadway. He wanted that all changed out. Well, in order to change all that out and redo it, the system completely to have adequate coverage, there was a cost involved that he was upset about. So he went ahead and he fixed it on the fly for a lot less money. Still has the issue. So there's just an ongoing, educational process with this situation. I can tell you that the one thing about Brightview is if you call, especially here in the office, like this morning, chap called me about his neighbor across the street who didn't want her holly tree trimmed. I got on the phone with Juan. He was there on property. He went right over to that house and he's making sure that nothing gets done. They're very, very responsive when we call them and we talk to them. I meet with them probably 2 to 3 times a week. I know the landscaping committee has been working with them nonstop over this past few months. I can't say that they're fantastic. I can't say that they're the worst that I've ever seen. I just know they're kind of like, I try to tell people they're the same as having the bulk service contract with cable that we have. It is a inexpensive bulk contract that does not provide for individual landscaping needs, a gardening, a special gardener. They do one thing for everybody, and everybody that wants something special feels that they should have that in their contract, and that's just not the case. It's kind of like not having HBO or higher speed internet. You have to pay for that. And I think that that's what we really have to push out there is for these landscapers, that's what's going on for the cost of, 50 or 60 bucks a month plus for mulch and tree trimming, etc. That's a very good deal for a lot of homeowners that pay for landscaping, because on your own, just like me, I pay $200 a month for Comcast to have my high-speed internet and my availability of channels at home. And yet it's $59 for both here. So I think it's the same for landscaping. If I wanted that full landscaping in my house, it's about $150 a month for my small yard. So I think it's just the economies of scale, and people just have to understand that. But they are responsive. They do have the portal and seem to be taking care of as much as they can, as fast as they can. Palm tree trimming is probably going to start on the 31st of this month. We're asking for a schedule of which way they're going to go, either starting at the back gate or in Wildcat.
Excuse me. I had trouble getting on. So I assume you were talking about Brightview?
Yes.
Okay. Was that just a general item? Because I don't know if there were people complaining or what. I was confused because always you send the Zoom about 10 minutes before. The title on that Friday email was not the Zoom. I printed it out. I didn't know it was there, so I was waiting for the Zoom thing. And then when I got it, I had trouble with my computer. So when we talked, I have some feedback on Brightview myself. I'm not happy with several things they're doing, okay? Is that what the subject was? Y'all were talking about Brightview?
Yeah, you can go ahead. Mention your concerns.
Okay, a couple of concerns. One is we've already talked about is clearly the trimming is very slow. But another one is kind of a detailed thing, but I notice it and it's quite dramatic. they quit edging between the lawns and the flower beds, or whatever you want to call them, okay? Used to, Leo always did that, and Brightview did it for a while. So now what's happening, the grass is growing starting to grow into the, the beds and all. And I don't know if that was a conscious thing they did, but clearly, it's a change. And so I don't know
Have you
what's going on.
contacted Brightview about this?
I'm not talking about my yard. I'm talking about everywhere. Okay. No, I haven't typed Brightview, because it's not a individual thing for me. It's a whole community while I'm bringing it up here at the board. And when I walk down through the common areas, it's not done. When I look at other people's yards, it's not done. It's down along the preserve, it's not done. They basically quit edging. They've edging along the sidewalks. They quit edging between the grass and any of the mulched areas, period. I'm surprised that no one else has noticed it. Maybe it's at least all in Sanctuary Point and the common areas down here. I haven't gone down into other areas and looked at it, but boy, it's clearly very distinctly quit being done.
Yes, it's very noticeable.
Has anyone else noticed it?
Yes.
Okay. And the point is, Leo used to do it. I'm at the point, every week there's something new that we find out that's going to cost us, or Brandview not doing. I'm almost ready to see if we can go back to Leo.
Well, but you've not made this known to anybody on the board except for now, right? So
Well, it's been accumulated.
communicated to Brightview or to Mark. How would anybody know this?
Well, first of all, we have talked about the several things that have come up, okay? And this is what I'm saying is a cumulative thing over 9 months now. I'm starting to have concerns with Brightview, period, okay?
Well, you missed the
It's
first
a cumulative
read
thing.
Mark's general manager's report yet? Or you just, no?
Jack, they quit doing some things that Leo did. We went into them because it was going to cost the same amount of money and the same service. We're not getting it, period.
So you don't have to be loud, just I'm
Well,
asking
yeah,
a question.
but I don't like the fact you say I haven't brought it up for now. There's been discussions about this before, okay? About the trimming and even the mowing and the frequency. Some of you have brought it up, okay? So this is not a new subject, and I assume that before I got here, y'all were talking about some concerns also. I didn't get to hear it because I didn't get into Zoom on time. I didn't realize that we got the Zoom thing last Friday. I had to find it, and then I got trouble with my
Again to
computer.
work. See if they'll do it to 8 o'clock.
I'll go
Okay.
ahead and,
Yeah, Mark,
Contact.
you can contact them.
I'll ask them what's going on.
As you
I'll take a
mentioned
drive-
earlier,
I'll take a
they're
drive with them as well.
good. As you mentioned, they're quite responsive to our concerns, but they need to know what the concerns are.
Bet, I'll take care of it.
So unless other board members have a similar concern, Linda?
Paul, I'm confused, okay? I just heard someone else say they saw this also. In other words, this is not a concern. This is something that they did, and they've obviously made a conscious effort to quit doing it because it was done for the first few months, and now it's not being done.
So I just asked Mark to look into that and see if he can't correct the situation. Now I want to go to Linda.
Brownie, I was just going to say that Mark was giving his manager's report, and the Brightview was just part of the manager's report. It wasn't that we were specifically talking about Brightview the whole time. I just wanted you to know that's how Brightview came up. It was part of the landscaping report from the general GM.
Now, Linda, you're chairman of the landscaping committee. Do you have concerns about Brightview?
So we find them very good to work with. We do find that we have to go back and get more specifics all the time with them because sometimes there's a break in communication from what we say to them and what comes back to us on paper. But overall, they have been very good to work with, we think. I mean, we don't work with them that much. We've been doing the common areas, and I guess if you see something different, like Brownie and Michael have noticed, now I never noticed that. So that would be good to bring to their attention for sure. And they do tend to try to fix things once you mention it to them.
Okay, so Mark will handle it and we'll go to Lanny.
My personal experience in those in my neighborhoods have not been as good as Mark's regarding the portal. There's been numerous occasions where people have requested something and have had to request it again 2 or 3 times in order to get attention. Sometimes they're great, especially when you want them to do something extra and it's going to bring in more money, they're right on it. But our experience has not been universally good about them responding. Sometimes they do and sometimes they don't.
I'll ask all of you, how does their portal compare to Leo Jr.'s portal?
It didn't, Leo Jr. didn't have one, so the portal is great.
That's my point.
One thing about the trimming and the edging that I did have several homeowners that were upset about the grass between, for instance, the edge of their home and let's just say it's the narrow strip between their homes. Leos tended to use the edger to keep on moving, and they found that their strip of grass was getting smaller and smaller and smaller. So it may be that in certain areas, Brightview is letting the grass grow back. I know that I was with Gail and Bill Cordes the other day in Willow Bend with Juan, talking about the trimming, walking through their backyards, looking at some of the edging around their pool areas, for instance. And they said that they've seen an improvement in the grass in the backyard. They do have oak trees back there that are creating problems with the roots. Gail can't walk across the yard. But they were very happy that Juan immediately responded to them, because I know that they were part of, part of the complaints that
Okay, I don't want this to be washed away, okay? Very clear, there are long pieces of grass growing into the mulch areas, in the common areas, and in the homes in Sanctuary Point. If you want me, I'll walk through the rest of the areas, but I get the feeling we're defending Brightview here. This is something that clearly they quit doing very consciously. It has nothing to do with the grass being bad or not being good. It's the long things of grass are now growing into the mulch areas, period. And now the ones of you who live in condo, maybe you don't notice it, you don't have that to worry about. The ones of you who do have homes, I would welcome you to look and see if you are experiencing that and give Mark the feedback. I guess Michael said he saw it, but I'm a little concerned we're kind of washing this under the table or something.
Well, I've asked Mark to look into this and correct it. What else should we do?
Well, I get the feeling though that Mark was kind of defending them about the pools and all of that. That has nothing to do with what I'm talking about.
No, they work with you when you specifically ask them for some help and some advice on certain things. They seem to be responsive. I will talk to them about this exact same thing. Maybe they just need to go through an edge. Maybe they need to take a little more time in the weed trimming and make sure that they take care of those types of issues. I think that they can be responsive for that. That's what
Michael, did you have a comment?
I just already have given my comment to Mark earlier today about trimming, because I thought they did a very poor job and the cleanup was terrible. You know, they left all of the trimmings just on the ground everywhere.
Yeah, that was another.
And I agree with Brownie. I mean, the grass is creeping right into all the beds everywhere.
Have they come back and
This has been going on for about a month.
still on the ground, Michael? Have they come back around?
I haven't. I just put that note into the portal, so I don't know. I haven't this morning.
Because I just got something from Juan this morning that says that he's going to stop by today to make sure in your area exactly what's going on, to find out whether or not they're cleaned up. I know that they're going at high speed to get the trimming done. They may be coming back to make sure that everything gets cleaned up. This is not a, this is a different crew. They brought in 4 crews from other properties on Friday and Saturday to get caught up because they are that month behind. So I think that they're interested in moving through the properties at high speed. I will make sure though that they go back and clean up. We did have some people who were upset about the trimming in like at 1069 Silver Strand, the Heinies, and but Juan went right out to their house and talked to them about their issues. That seems to be their modus operandi, but I'll follow up on all of that and make sure that they do what they're supposed to do.
Yeah, they need to really come back and clean up.
Yep. Okay.
Okay, can we move along? Let's go to Summit, Mark.
Summit Broadband, I've just seen their guys in the red shirts here on property quite a bit. They've been working. I was behind, you know where Charmin Shostak lives. So her
Right.
neighbor to, if you're looking at her house, her neighbor to the left about 2, they were new homeowners. They decided they wanted to trim out some of their trees themselves. They took all the trimmings, large tree branches, and threw it over the fence right on top of the Brightview box on the node, or the Summit box. You know, all the cables and whatnot, knocked the top off and had some issues with the actual wiring, cable wiring in that node. So we were working together to clear off that debris, and we know that there was some issues with some of the connectivity, and I think CHAP was a part of that, having intermittent issues there. I know they were having intermittent issues down by Willow Bend and Deer Creek. They seem to be, from our standpoint, once again, when we contact Broderick Caldwell, who's our CSR, they seem to be responsive in looking at making sure that things get taken care of. I know that Jack, for instance, had an issue with his stuff because he had old Lightstream equipment that had not been replaced or upgraded by Summit. I think he's gotten that resolved at this point in time. We look forward to probably in some answers to the cable contract questions over this next 5 to 6 months. I know that Eric Frankel has been in touch with several providers to talk to them about what they can do for us, not only Summit, but Hotwire. I think he's talked to Xfinity, and he's also talked to a couple of new companies that are in town. Hotwire seems to be the new go-to guys that have a lot of communities and they seem to be getting fairly good reviews. So that's just something that's got to be coming down the pike. You know, if we can get the people to call in and take care of stuff. I just know that I've heard that they're still getting intermittent outages, pixelization on the screens, fast and slow speeds on internet. That there doesn't seem to be a great degree of consistency with their product at this time.
Do we have a report from Eric?
I do not have a report from Eric. All I have from Eric is that he was not going to do anything until later on in the summer.
Well, at the EC meeting, we asked for a report from Eric in terms of where we stand and what's coming down the pike and kind of the status of Summit and whether or not he's talked to them about some of our local concerns. So if we don't have that, why don't we get it for the next meeting?
I got a question, Paul.
John, go ahead.
Has a decision been made yet as to whether or not we're going to do this in-house or whether we're going to go out and contract with somebody to do these negotiations for us?
No, that decision has not been made. And that's another reason why we need to hear from Eric. Lanny.
My homeowners asked to have a Zoom session with Summit Customer Service. You know, they used to have the coffee hours, and they suggested requesting a Zoom session. Mark, you said you'd ask. Are they willing to do that?
I haven't gotten call. I have asked, but Broderick hasn't got to me. I can reach out to make sure that what he says and how they want to manage that, and if they should do it by specific neighborhoods rather than the whole community at one whack.
Whichever, but it would be nice to have an opportunity for people to give them some feedback.
I'll ask him again.
One other thing that I learned from one of our homeowners who had initially bought extra high speed is that he wasn't getting those speeds. And when he talked to someone at Summit, they said, oh, we don't send that speed into Sterling Oaks. You know, people are being charged for 50, but are probably not getting it. So that should be clarified. He canceled it.
Okay, anything else regarding Summit?
One point to make, since I assume you all know, if you tell people 90% of the time, all you have to do is unplug the power, plug it back in, and it'll kind of come back up. I don't know if y'all learned that or not, okay?
That's correct.
That's not the issue for my homeowners. They're having outages on an every other day basis, and that doesn't fix it.
Okay, and Mark, again, let's get Eric involved and see what he can do, he and the committee can do for us.
Okay. All right.
Okay, car theft, Mark.
All right, so I got a phone call from Alan Lewis.
Alla Luz.
Lewis. It's, yeah. Sounds like it's spelled Lewis, but it's Leuci something. Anyways, this is a while ago. She gave me a phone call. She goes, I just want to let you know that my car was stolen out of my driveway. I said, when? She goes, on Saturday night, early Saturday morning at around 5:30. She goes, and the guards let the guy in and he stole my car. I said, that sounds odd. I'll look into it. I said, how did he steal your car? She goes, well, I left the keys in it and it was unlocked. I said, okay. So the first thing I'm thinking is, that sounds odd. Maybe it's not, but it just sounded a little odd to me because we hadn't received any other information from anybody. I said, thank you, I'll look into it. I got a phone call then on Monday from another Willow Bend resident who said, are you going to alert the entire community that there was a car theft and that we should all be looking and making sure that we're safe? And I said, I don't have enough information. The only thing I have right now is the anecdotal remark that the car was stolen from an individual. I don't know enough detail about it. I have not heard from CCSO, the sheriff. I don't know, the questions that were asked was, who was the person that got in here? Did they know the person? Was it something to do with a relative? Was it something to do with insurance? Was it something to do with, we don't know. So I said, well, I'd like to talk to the detective if you could send them my way. I've also got the videos and I can download the videos and save them here on my computer. And if they'd like to come by and take a look at them, they're more than welcome to. It wasn't for a week or so after they had done some investigative work over in Lauderdale that the actual detective called me up to inform me what had gone on. That's how we knew exactly what was going on. And that's when we put out the notice to everybody in the community to just make sure that they kind of keep their doors locked and to make sure that they're, doing their neighborhood watch. And if they see something, say something. We found out that these thieves drove in here at an opportune moment at the guard changing time. We don't know why the guard left the gate open, except for that he probably was using the restroom. The other guard that was taking his place that day was on property and was here, but down at Wildcat unlocking the Wildcat pool. We had issues with this guard in the past for not doing his job on a consistent basis at night. We asked that he be removed. We also asked that the sheriff's department investigate him, and they said that they would do so. We have replaced that individual, or Barefoot Security, or Tricor Security has replaced him, and we're seem to be back being a little more consistent with the individual who's there at night now. I can't say that this is something that happen all the time. I can tell you that if they wanted to, they could have come in the back gate. When the gate was open, when somebody left, they could drive in, because the barrier arm is no longer there, because we know that we can't keep it up because people run into it all the time. In the other communities, they jumped the fences and they walked into other communities through open areas, which we have. So I think that this is an unfortunate situation. It just begs that, they go ahead, they jump out, there's 4 or 5 guys in a car, they race into any neighborhood that they can find. They immediately hit all the doors, click, 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 click. And if they find one that's open, they jump in and push the button. If it doesn't start, they go to the next one. And then they move and they'll go away. Unfortunately, the new push button cars, if you've got your keys in the car, they'll start immediately. And a lot of people we found actually leave those in there. So that's where we are now. I've the detective has given me his information. I gave him mine. He said that they're working on trying to find out who the individuals were. They did chase them in a high-speed chase over in Lauderdale. They ran off the road, hit a tree, and jumped out of the car. The cops couldn't catch them on foot, and they were not able to make any arrests at that time.
Question. Mark, are you
Ronnie.
saying that we actually identified on the video who came in the front gate? We could see the car, identify it?
We know that the car that came in through the front gate was a stolen Mercedes that was stolen from one of the neighbors, I think either Falling Waters, Turpin Cove, or Vanderbilt Lakes down below.
Okay, the only reason I was wondering is during the time I don't know what date this was, that they did the paving, there was a whole weekend, they left the back gate open the whole time, the whole weekend. So,
Yeah, this was before that.
okay, I don't know what the date was. So we actually identified it was somehow they came through the front gate then. Okay.
They stole
Yeah.
a Mercedes, a Cadillac Escalade, a BMW, and I think 2 other cars that night
Oh, okay.
from various communities.
Okay.
Lanny.
My homeowners would have liked to have had a message go out immediately to the effect that a homeowner reports that their car was stolen. Don't forget to keep your car locked and don't leave the keys in. Why wouldn't that have been appropriate, and then more details later?
I can't answer that, except for that we did not know enough information at the time to make that specific call. We don't know at that time whether or not the car was taken by somebody. It wasn't really stolen. It was only reported stolen. Well, I couldn't get any verification from CCSO at the time. I had asked her.
I understand that, but I mean, not too many of our homeowners are going to claim that they were robbed or their car was stolen.
I understand. I didn't have any verification other than somebody's. I mean, you're going out to 700 and some odd people to tell them that a car was stolen last night.
No, I said that a homeowner reported that their car was
Lanny,
stolen.
I don't have an answer for you.
Well,
Can we do that in the future?
I think it depends on the situation also. As Mark is stating, we didn't know that it was a theft. It could have been any number of things. So before we get the whole community concerned and fearful as to what's going on, if nothing is going on, we need to be certain as to what the situation truly is. And I think that's what Mark is saying. We weren't certain. It was under investigation. Could be any number of things. But I think, and secondly, it's an isolated situation. If we had 2 or 3 of these in the community, that would be a totally different story. But I'm a little concerned about instilling fear in the community when it need not be. So I think it was a matter of timing here, and we just weren't sure. So I wouldn't put anything else. I wouldn't promulgate any fear until we know for certain what's going on.
I'm not suggesting that we promulgate fear. I'm suggesting that we promulgate reminders to be keeping your car locked and not having the keys in it.
That makes sense, and we can certainly do that through the FYIs.
But I would like it to be done if anything like this, you know, any major crime that is reported by one of our homeowners, we can certainly follow up with corrected information when it's known. But that came almost 2 weeks after the event happened. And that was not acceptable to the homeowners in my area.
Okay, we'll take that under advisement. And again, depending on what the situation is, I think my concern is if a homeowner alleges something is going on, it doesn't mean to say that it actually is going on. That's my concern.
Do we have any experience with anyone alleging that they were robbed and they weren't?
Well, I think over the years we probably have. I think in our own personal lives, we've seen that happen. Someone thinks a car's been stolen when a relative borrows it or a friend takes it, or who knows what the situation is. People have left it in a parking area, couldn't find their car, calls it in stolen. Happens all the time.
Well,
So
yes, but this was out of a driveway. I mean, that's certainly a different circumstance.
Well, I'm saying the alleged versus the actual is my concern. Chap.
Somebody explain to me what we are debating here. A resident reported a car stolen. We've done what we could. There might have been a problem with a guard. That guard has since been terminated. It's been reported to Collier County Sheriff's Office. It's under investigation. What are we debating?
The debate is whether or not we should promulgate this information to the community. And
Immediately.
yeah,
What will you say when you don't have all the facts?
right. That's the issue.
So what we're debating is
Information with no facts, then you're accused of any number of things.
Well, panic.
What we're debating is whether or not that should have been reported to the community immediately. Is that what we're debating?
Yes.
That's correct. That's what the homeowners in my neighborhoods are asking for, and they were quite distressed that they weren't informed. We were
So what would you have
informed when
said
they
to the
were robbed.
homeowner, Lanny? What would you have said to the homeowner?
What would I have said?
Yeah.
Well, I said that I would, bring it to the board.
No.
But,
What would you have said if you were in Mark's position and this happened?
I would have said,
Charge?
thank you. I will indicate, I will send a message out to the homeowners that you have reported that your car was stolen, and I will remind people to keep their cars locked and not leave the keys in.
Well,
I
didn't
don't
Mark
think that
send a
will-
notice to the community when he had the facts?
He had the fact that the homeowner reported that her car was stolen from her driveway at 5:30 in the morning. That's enough to report, I think, and most of my, well, no, I should, many
How
of
do you
my,
know that's enough to report it? You don't know everything about it.
I don't think, when we had robberies, we didn't know all the details and we reported, them. So I don't see what the difference is. I don't
Okay,
know why.
I think we understand what the concern is. I think we can take this under advisement. And I think administration knows what to do in the future, so we can talk about this forever. But I think the concepts are presented. We all understand them, so I think we can move along.
But we don't have agreement about doing things different in the future, correct?
I thought I just said that. I think we can take this under advisement, and it depends on the situation. So we just can't blanketly alert the community every time there's an allegation going on. So I think it depends on the situation. I mean,
Okay,
do you all feel we can move along?
Yes.
I encourage.
Okay, let's go to treasurer's report. I always look forward to this.
Well, I
Jeff,
can give
you're
you
on.
good news. I can give you good news, and there's no controversy. Things
Well, we're
are-
disappointed, Chap. We'd rather have controversy.
This will be really short, I hope. Overall, things are in good shape. There's no problems. Our operating cash position is really solid. At the end of July, we had $466,000 worth of operating cash. The enterprise, what I call the enterprise P&L, is how are we doing overall? At the end of July, we had a loss of $1,900 cumulative for the year. That's $29,000 better than the budget, and all of this is due to good cost control. I didn't know how to describe tennis. All I said was tennis is on fire. We have a profit through July of $26,000.
Has anyone reported the flames?
Chap is doing it now.
That $26,000 is $17,000 better than the budget. Food and beverage is exactly where we all thought it would be because of the shutdown. We've had just very little revenue. Food and beverage loss through July is $92,000. That's $36,000 worse than budget. The ongoing saga with condo water remains. The condos remain $17,000 in the hole through July. I really believe that this is all due to lousy budgeting. And we'll make sure that it's not going to happen again in 2021 because we don't budget it correctly. Just two other things quickly. I want you all to understand once and for all that this PPP loan that we've been using for payroll has nothing to do with the enterprise P&L. All it's done is impact our strong operating cash position. The loan shows up on our books as a liability, but it should be forgiven. Last thing, it's nothing that I wrote up. We're making really good progress on the budget for next year. I think as soon as we resolve something that's going to come up later in the meeting about some fee increases, Suzanne and Mark and I and the Finance Committee will be able to get a budget for you quickly for next year. And that's it.
Question.
Very good. Any questions, John Miho? And then we'll go to Brown.
With how are we going to resolve this over budget run of the water in the condo areas? Last year, the HOA paid the $23,000. We're already 17,000 over, and it's because of having a problem budgeting. But how is it going to be resolved at the end of this year? Are we going to pay for it again?
Well, that's a decision we'll have to make when we have the final number. We have two choices. Number one is the association can delete it. Or number two is we can bill out the deficit. I don't know. And I don't think we'll be able to make a decision on that until the end of the year. So I can't answer your question because I don't know. But those are the two options.
Lanny,
Most years, we just build it to the condos at the end of the year. Last year was an exception.
Browning.
Okay. Chap, you say that that loan doesn't affect the P&L, which I understand, but I assume it does affect the operating cash. In other words, operating cash is $180,000 higher because we paid some expenses out of that 188. Is that correct?
Right.
It does affect the
That's
cash.
correct. If we hadn't received this loan, our operating cash would be a lot lower than it is.
That's what I'm saying. So it does affect your operating cash, just not the P&L. That's my point.
That's correct.
Okay, I just wanted to clarify that.
Lindia.
Yes, I just want to remind everyone that last year there was a problem with the budgeting being under budget for all the pine straw that was used in all the villas and the single family homes. And we paid for that out of the general operating budget, which means that all the condo people and coach home people paid for their mulch or pine straw twice, because we paid for it with our own landscapers through our advanced property or our association. And then we also helped pay for the homeowners through the general operating fund. So that was definitely a wash. And it was a matter of fact, if it was a wash, it was in the favors of the homeowners because our water bill was not as much as the pine straw. So I would say I wouldn't bring up the business about last year, but this year's a different situation. We have got to budget it correctly, and we don't do the budget. So, you know,
Yeah. But I'm aware that chap in the finance committee has addressed this in the new budget.
I am positive of that. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's for sure. We address it for next year. We're going to have a condo water deficit. We're going to have one when the year is over. And again, we'll just have to decide, the 9 of us, whether we want to build the condos or eat it. And nothing's changed. We've had the same discussion month after month after month. We'll get to the end of the year, see where we are, and make a decision.
Okay, do we have any other questions of the treasurer? If not, let's move to committee reports, and we'll start with architectural standards. Michael and Cezanne, please.
Okay, Cezanne put together an extensive report for the executive committee, which everybody should have read at this point. And obviously the saga continues on. And based on that report, we have made several recommendations, which are now in the ASC report for today. But is there any discussion or questions about what's going on here from Cezanne's report? Okay. Then let's go ahead and work with the recommendations. The first one being that we want to make 4 different motions. Okay. First one being a motion to recommend that the outstanding roofs need to be cleaned upon completion of the umpire review for the roof claims. So.
Okay, do we have a motion for that, please?
Is that a motion?
We need a motion.
I will make the motion.
I thought he made the motion. I'll second it.
Okay.
Okay, Michael
I'll
makes the
second.
motion.
I'll second it.
Brownie seconds.
Yeah, we're-
Do we have any discussion?
Can you read the motion again?
Okay, we're cutting out on the audio for some reason here.
Right.
Everybody's freezing up. Okay, I'll redo the motion. Motion to recommend that the outstanding roofs, we're talking about condo and coach homes, need to be cleaned upon completion of the umpire review for the roof claims.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Lanny?
Question, Michael, are you thinking of giving them, a week or 2 weeks after that time? Upon completion sort of implies the same day.
Okay. Probably within 30 days, we could add that to it.
I would even say 2 weeks.
It would give them a month.
Contract signed.
Cezanne, you were talking over someone else. What's your recommendation?
I would even say like 14 days, 2 weeks is sufficient, as I know most of them already have contracts. They're just waiting on the umpire to be done.
Okay.
Typically, how long does it take to get a roof cleaner in and have the job done?
It depends. Like, I believe they all have contracts signed with Trafford. Trafford is just waiting on the green light. So like I said, I think with working with Trafford, Trafford could get it on their schedule and get it complete within 2 weeks.
Okay, and we can offer a little leeway there too, but I think that's reasonable. So do you want to add that to the motion?
All right. Okay, motion to recommend that the outstanding roofs need to be cleaned upon completion of the umpire review within 2 weeks of the umpire review for roof claims.
Okay, Brownie?
How many roofs are we, what's the number of roofs we're talking about?
Cezanne?
It was listed in the executive committee report, but it's Sweetwater Bay 1, 3, and 7 and Eagle Cove 3. So I think there's probably a mixture of maybe about 10 buildings within that.
5 roofs there.
Okay, any further discussion? All in favor of this motion indicate by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Okay, Michael?
Okay, the second motion for all buildings to be in compliance with standards for carport walls and fascia on March 31st of 2021. And the reason, the time they get these roofs on, it's going to be a while, and there's no point in going ahead and trying to do painting and do all that work in the process of replacing roofs.
Okay, that's the motion. I need a second.
Second.
Go. Terry seconds. Okay, any discussion on this motion? Brownie?
Question. Does this apply, are you talking about just in the condos, the carport walls and fascia? You're talking about specifically the condos? In other words, does this include the fascia of homeowners, or is this meant to be just for the condo?
We can add to the motion for all condo buildings.
Okay, so you're talking about condos, okay.
Yeah, all these are just about the condo coach home building.
Okay. We should put the condos in there, I think, and condo buildings.
Yeah, I added it.
Okay.
Okay, any further discussion of this motion? All in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Okay, Michael?
Okay, the third one is the motion to give extension to Eagle Cove 1 and Sweetwater 5 to correct outstanding violations by October 31st, 2020. Susan, can you give a little more detail on that?
Sure, and that's supposed to be Sweetwater 6, I'm sorry. And this is because, Sweetwater 5, that's correct. Eagle Cove 1 is currently having their roofs replaced. So they're gonna deal with their other violations, which were like cleaning the trim, the gutters, the fascia after their roofs get done. And Sweetwater Bay 5 had some rotted fascia on their carport that we just noticed. give them a little bit of time to be able to correct that. So that's why we're saying correct that by October 31st.
Is one of these buildings where they damaged the driveways?
Yes, all of Eagle Cove 1, when they were working, or some of the driveways on Eagle Cove 1, they had the roof tiles dropped off, they damaged the driveway. So that will also be a part of getting that fixed.
Okay.
I need a second to the motion, then we'll go to discussion.
Second.
Brownie seconds. Brownie, you have a question?
Yeah. I heard Simon say something, this included some fascia work. Well, we just gave an extension for fascia to March the 31st, and now we're saying we're only going to give it to October the 31st. To me, that's the inconsistency there.
Well, this is two separate things. We know that the carport walls and fascia need to be painted on the rest. This is a specific rotted area on Sweetwater Bay 5 that they have a violation for.
Well, it's just a little confusing because we have fascia in both of them though.
So we can Sweetwater Bay 5, and I can put in parentheses rotted fascia area.
Okay, maybe you're talking about more major repairs. You're not
Correct.
yeah, okay. So maybe I ought to put rotted fascia or something.
Yes.
Something we don't want to wait until March, you know.
Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
yeah, okay. So we want to make sure that's clear then. We want to wait for March for those. Okay.
Yep, I'll put the table that I included in the EC notes with this motion in the minutes, so we have it.
Okay.
Any further discussion? All in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Michael?
The fourth one, and this could be a little discussion on this motion, that if a tarp is to be applied to the roof that is either white or clear, gray or brown, a color must be used to match the current roof color. Blue tarps are not permitted.
Okay, I need a second.
A second.
Okay, Jack seconds. Any discussion?
How many of these do we have? That's the problem.
Too many.
Oh, we do? How many?
I know specifically there's probably like 3 or 4 out there.
Oh,
There's
that
definitely
many?
There's
Yeah.
definitely one in the coach home buildings that's been an eyesore for many, many months. It's blue. Another one has been added in Tavernier. So, like these buildings have white roofs. So if they would have installed a white tarp or clear, it wouldn't be such an eyesore to the neighbors next to them while they get this fixed.
Okay.
Lanny?
It seems to me that in an emergency situation, this may be overly restrictive. Perhaps it could be modified that within say a month, and we could change it if there's another big hurricane and people can't get anything but blue. But that I think the issue is long-term blue tarps don't make any sense. But they might make sense in an emergency situation where, you know, homeowners just don't have a choice. Michael, did the ASC consider, you know, potentially allowing them for a short amount of time?
That did not come up for a discussion, but what did come up was the fact that are they going to be available other than blue? You know, that's the most predominant color out there. So that would be the concern in an emergency. Would we be able to get enough tarp that are not blue? You know,
Did you find out that they are readily available?
I don't know that. You know that they are available now,
Okay.
but that's
Would you rather go back to the committee to ask their opinion about 30 days or some time frame that they could be allowed and then needed to be replaced with something that matches better?
How about 2 weeks?
In a hurricane, 2 weeks isn't much time.
Well,
Yeah.
or we get this.
so the question is, if we need to consider modifying this motion for a hurricane situation, then we could pass this motion and then ask the architectural committee to submit a revision if they have the facts and necessary to do it. I mean, anytime there's a condition where you can't get something, an emergency.
Right.
I don't see holding this motion off to clarify it, but that's just not my opinion.
Mark,
I think that, the one thing is, yes, if a tree falls on somebody's roof in a hurricane and puts a hole in it, they need something on there immediately. They're gonna grab whatever they can find. What we see in some of these other areas is that a couple of months out, 2 or 3 months out from the hurricane, after some rains, they see that there's some leaks, so they put a tarp over it. I think those are two different scenarios. I think that that one's the emergency, it doesn't matter what it is. The next one should be this motion, so that we don't have to stare at what we've been looking at here over the past year on the condos and also on the homes themselves. So maybe the ASC can modify this to say, in the case of an emergency, whatever means necessary, however, within 2 weeks or a month, that the appropriate tarp can be applied.
maybe we could say they can apply a tarp in case of an emergency and submit a plan to the ASC for replacement.
Within a time frame.
Well, how about we say blue tarps are not permitted to be installed except in emergency conditions with the consent of the ASC.
Well, you probably wouldn't be getting ASC permit on a weekend when the hurricane is just come through. So, you might want to just give a time frame and not say permission, and only left on for no more than 30 days or something like that, or 2 weeks.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with Mike. I mean, emergency or not, what we want is blue tarps on the roof for no longer than 30 days. That's what we want.
Right.
So why can't we just
We can
make a
edit this.
motion to do that? That's what we want.
We can just add to this motion, blue tarps are not permitted for longer than 30 days.
Exactly. That's it. It doesn't make
Okay,
any difference.
all right, Lindia?
I think somewhere in the rules or somewhere in the regulations, it should say, other than emergencies, when tarps are being used, they should match the color of the roof.
That's what it says now, I think, with the modification we just made.
Yeah.
Does it?
We'll just say blue tarps are not permitted except in emergencies.
But I mean, and a brown tarp on a white roof would look just as bad.
Well, we said to the color to be used to best match the current roof color.
Yes, that's good.
Look, anytime you're putting a tarp on a roof, it's an emergency.
Well, you would think, but has been a tarp on the condo roof for 10 months.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah.
So the new rule says, go ahead and put your blue tarp on there, but you can't have it on there for any more than 30 days.
Yeah, let's go with that. Why don't we say blue tarps are discouraged and are not allowed for more than 30 days?
Yeah, there you go.
Okay.
I don't like brown.
And a replacement tarp should match the color of the roof
Correct.
Well, the best you can,
as best you can.
the best available or something.
Right, like a translucent tarp would be great. A white one on a white roof would make sense. So do we have it, Cezanne?
Yeah, the way I have it typed up is if a tarp is to be applied to the roof, that is, if a tarp is to be applied to the roof, that it's either white, clear, gray, or brown, the color to be used best match the current roof. Blue tarps are discouraged and not permitted for longer than 30 days.
Perfect.
Good. Okay. Any further discussion?
Well, I have trouble specifying any colors. We have more roofs that are red than anything. We don't even have that in there. So to me, we just should say whatever's as good a match as we can, because actually, if you go look around, there's more red than anything.
Well, I think that's what Cezanne said. I think that's
Yeah,
part
but
of the motion.
why do we specify white, clear, gray, and brown? I don't think there's any gray roofs, really.
Oh, there are a ton of gray roofs.
There is in the coach homes. We can take out the colors and it just says if a tarp is to be applied to a roof, that it is the color best to match the current roof. Blue tarps are discouraged and are not
Yeah, to
permitted.
me, that would be
makes sense.
better because, you know,
Okay, let's do that. Any further discussion? I think we're closing in on this. We're close.
Michael, why'd you save the easiest one for last? I don't know.
Oh, yes, wow. Perfect.
Okay, all in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Okay, Michael, you're on
Okay, the
again.
last item is that there's been a request sent to our attorney, Jason, regarding outstanding violations of Eagle Code 3. But first of all, that the outstanding violations be, he'll be sending them a letter, the outstanding violations be corrected, the roof violations be corrected, and that the blue tarp on building 1182 must be white or clear. And that's the end of my report.
Okay, we don't need a motion on this.
No.
This is just a report.
Right.
Okay, Lanny?
Just a question, what was the time frame to replace the tarp?
Work with Anna Danielle at Jason's office to draft a letter and get these corrected. So I would say she would probably ask them for a plan of action and hopefully get the roof tarp replaced within the 14 days at least. I know that I tried to address this with the Eagle Cove 3 president already, and she said she was going to ask the roofing company.
Okay,
So they know that it's coming.
This issue has been going on for the 10 months at least. And there's been some concern about leadership in Eagle Cove 3. They've gone for a period of time without a president and officers. They were threatened to go into receivership if they couldn't find a president and a board to represent them. They've had a change in their management company. It seems that no one was in control of what was taking place. When we asked them recently, they finally did get a president. I don't know about other officers, but the reaction has been, we don't have any money. This is, we're in negotiations with the insurance company. Don't interfere and mess up our claim. And we don't have any money, so just leave us alone. So we've had much difficulty getting a plan from them and some cooperation in terms of what's happening and where we're going, and just simple communication back and forth between them and the homeowners association. And then just recently they lost their manager for their management company, and they have a new person. So it's like starting all over again. So, and I go back to 10 months ago when we had this issue and nothing is happening. So we just have to force them to the table so we can talk. Chat.
I gotta get this off my chest, and I'm picking on Lindia, I guess.
okay.
This,
You're in
this-
trouble, chap.
this, and I don't know what to do about it. You'll get the drift when I finish. This board, and particularly Mike and the ASC, has spent more time trying to deal with the condos, roofs and fascia and paint and this, that, and the other thing. And we never get anywhere. And the reason we never get anywhere is the condos have, some of them have good associations, some of them don't, some of them don't even have an association. The management companies are, who knows what they do. They're either incompetent or change client service people, seems to me, every 6 months. I don't know what we do about this, but it's driving me crazy that we can never get anything done in a timely fashion with the condos because we really don't have any authority other than to complain.
Well, Sterling Oaks could take over all the responsibility of all management companies, but I don't think we want to entertain that.
We don't.
Well, could I join in here? First of
Yeah.
all, we really haven't had a whole lot of troubles in the past with the condos. A, the condos are getting older. B, a lot of them are due for new roofs. And you remember the problem we had in Wildcat Cove when their roofs were starting to go. We also are getting ready to paint, most of us. It's been that many years. So again, things need painting, fascias rotting, that sort of thing. I really think overall the management companies and the presidents and the boards of the condo associations and coach home associations have done a pretty good job holding it all together. We've had a few individual problems, but overall, I think it's like the perfect storm here. Everything's come at the same time. A hurricane damage, everybody's getting new roofs, and the painting, and it's been a lot. And we have had
We lost you, Lydia.
Oops.
You must have gone through a tunnel.
we've
There's
been that
nothing
much
we
of a
can-
problem.
Oh, there she is.
Did you lose me?
Yeah, did you go through a tunnel?
So I just thought we hadn't been that much of a problem. Apparently, we're driving chap over the brink.
Well, listen. There's nothing we can do about a lot of this. All I know is, and I guarantee you, that 6 months from now, we'll be dealing with the same garbage.
I don't think so. I don't think so.
Lanny,
I'd give it a year before we get out of this.
yeah, Lanny.
Yeah, I would just second Lydia's perspective. You know, over the last 10 years, this is not a common situation. I think the perfect storm analogy is appropriate. I think Michael's right. You know, this too will pass, and we have not engaged as a board with the other boards as much in the past either. But I think this is going to work out.
Lonnie, the hurricane was 3 years ago.
And
Yeah,
people
but
are still
the-
getting roofs replaced.
The
Right.
deadline for
It-
claim had just passed. That's the issue. Everyone's rushing at the last minute to get their claims in.
Insurance has been a problem.
Yes.
I'm done. It's off my chest, and we'll just keep dealing with it.
Okay,
Okay, can we move along then? Michael, do we have your permission
Yes.
to move?
we're done.
Okay. Then let's go to landscaping report. Linda.
Mark's going to give it for me.
I'm gonna read it for you. All right, phase 1 of the 2020 landscaping has been completed. New landscaping has been mostly installed of this writing. We're still waiting on a couple of areas that need to be finished up. And the committee's completed phase 2, and the estimates, the requiring approval are below. So these 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 are up for approval at this time. As Linda said, we've been involved with these Brightview individuals. And when we have a meeting, we not only meet with the on-site supervisor, we meet with the regional director. We usually meet with the head of irrigation for the entire Southwest Florida area. And a lot of times it has to do with trees. We bring the tree guy in. We also have George, who is the enhancement supervisor that oversees plantings and dictates exactly where they go per his plan. So it is a team effort. And as Lindia said, they've gone back and forth. They've been very responsive to the landscaping committee's needs. Lindia and Linda and Mark Salazzo have been diligent in their efforts to make sure that the plants that they are picking are colorful and also will survive in the areas that they are planted. There's a lot of back and forth discussion about what those plants should be. And this is how these following proposals have come to be.
So Lynn, you want to make a motion on these 5?
Yes, before I do, I'd just like to mention that if you want to see one project that's finished, you could go to the Wildcat Pool. I think that looks really nice. That's all been done. Deer Creek is just in the process of getting a really nice new entrance. And we're going to be working on the condo line along 41 and tearing out all that old shrubbery there. It's really bad shape. And we're going to be putting in a nice
It's a copperleaf, and that's number 5 on this proposal.
on there with a irrigator constantly. Yes.
Okay,
So,
I need a motion.
I make a motion that we approve, and I don't have them in front of me, the 5 items on the landscaping report.
For a total cost of $15,143.38.
Correct.
Okay, I need a second.
Second.
Okay, Chap seconds. Any discussion? Chap?
Simple. Let's just make sure that we're not billed for this, Mark. It comes out of the $25,000, okay?
Yes.
Okay. Second.
You're referring to the Brightview coupon.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Second thing is, and this is just a little tip, on the budget you see, you're going to see very shortly for next year. I think, Cezanne, tell me if I'm wrong, we allocated what, 50,000? Yeah,
Yes.
50,000 for landscaping.
Great. That'll be good. We have a lot of areas that need work.
Good. Now, one comment, Lynn, I presume these 5 items reflect our work with the strategic plan.
Oh yeah, so does the budget for next year.
Absolutely.
Okay. Brownie, did you have a question?
Yeah, Chap,
Yep.
you add these up, they're about 25, so this will use up all of the landscape budget for this year, correct?
Well, whatever it is, I thought it was 15.
It's about 25, it's within $1,000. So this
Well,
will use,
if that's what it is, that's what it is.
I'm just
25.
clarifying. We have 25 in the budget. Just want to make the point is this should use it all up. It
We
will.
have
No.
25.
Are you saying the math is wrong, Brownie, on the 5 recommendations?
The 5 will add up to about 25,000 almost.
We have
We'll put
25.
Well, I'm slow on
We-
my math, but I don't get that.
No.
I get
It's, the math is 15,143. How do you get 25?
Oh, okay. I'm totaling, I thought the 15,000 was just for the condo, the bottom, where it says total cost. My mistake. You see that?
Oh, no.
I'm adding the first 4 and 15 for number 5. I got you. Okay.
Okay, Brownie,
okay.
it's a remedial math class for you.
No, it was reading.
Hey,
It was
is this the math
comprehension,
teacher?
not the math.
That's what you teach, Brownie.
It was reading comprehension.
Okay, sorry.
I'm like Joe Biden. I'm getting senile.
Oh.
Okay, Lanny.
Just a question, Lindia, on the center pot watering. I know that we have a plan for watering the pots on the outside. What is the plan for watering the center pot?
Well,
In the
Mark can
middle of-
fill you in.
In the pool island,
Yes.
Inside the pool island, yeah.
it has
We've had
irrigation.
we've had perennial problems with that,
It
so,
has irrigation.
oh, good.
And how often will that be watered?
They can set up that timer for as many times as they want, I think.
Okay, so who will monitor that it's getting sufficient irrigation?
That's probably a question for Lindia.
We'll talk to Juan and make sure that he's down here. He's on property every day. You know, I would
Okay.
say that once they get started, we should probably take a good hard look at them.
Okay.
This has been a problem in the past. We've
Right.
spent a lot of money
So
and
I
they
think we need
die.
to, this is a lot of plantings in there.
Yeah.
And so I think we need to be really on top of it.
Yeah, it's a good point.
Right.
Okay, Lynn, carry on.
Did you
I think
guys have a motion? on the
we have to
table?
vote.
Oh. Okay, any further discussion? Good. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, the motion carries. Lynn, good job on this, and good job to Lynn, Linda, and Mark. And I'm pleased that this reflects our strategic plan. Okay, Mark, you want to carry on?
Yep. So on August 18th, the committee met with representatives from Brightview. William Shell, who is the regional supervisor, Juan Gandas, Juan is the on-site supervisor, and Chris Rodriguez, who is the irrigation supervisor, to review some old and new items. Trimming, as we talked about earlier. Brightview has not received high marks on trimming. Some residents are not aware of what's included in the HOA fees and what's considered extra for trimming. That was one of the reasons for some complaints. However, for others, it was the fact that they're almost a month behind in schedule. For example, Deer Creek was trimmed on June 15th, and as of August 21st, had not been trimmed again for a total of 9 weeks versus the 5 weeks that they are in the contract. Mark West told Brightview representatives this was not acceptable. They needed to get more people on the trimming crew. Brightview said they'd look into it and also noticed they'd start trimming the palms in August. And that's the response that we did get, that last Friday they brought in those 4 crews, 21 extra people to do nothing but trimming within the community. However, as we hear from Michael, they might have had a little too much chainsaw and coffee and gone too fast. I did receive an email just now from Juan, who said that he would go back to the Manatee and Tavernier area and make sure that the trimming, all the cleanup had been done and will be done ASAP. Trimming the shrubs around the tennis courts was also discussed. The committee noted that maintenance needs to dig out the area around the courts for runoff, but the hedges have grown too close to the fence. Juan said he'd instruct his crew to trim them back further in the future. The placement of powder puff trees outside of Court 2 with appropriate spacings for the existing hedge was discussed. The committee wanted 3 trees instead of 4 and pointed out the location they should be planted. This is where, if you're in the parking lot down at the tennis court side and you're looking to the left of the paver path at Court 2, there's a hedge and there's about 3 half-dead trees in that area. One of the reasons for that is that there is no irrigation in that area that was ever put in other than intermittent. So it was basically a retention area, and it works well in the summer when we get rain. Other than that, it really doesn't have the irrigation necessary to manage coverage in that whole area.
What are those shrubs?
We
They're
have
not ficus, are they?
No, there's a I don't even know the name of it. It looks sort of like a cassia tree that's dead, and a couple others that are not doing well. They're going to be taken out, and the powder puff trees that you see on the way to Wildcat that look very nice are going to be installed. The clubhouse parking lot on the tennis court side, there's 4 islands that need help. The heavy root problem with 3 trees is interfering with irrigation systems and raising the blacktop in the parking lot, and a potential trip hazard for residents, which is true as if you do walk in that little area where those little landscaping areas are in the parking lot where the trees are. You can see where the roots have actually pushed the irrigation pipes up out of the ground, and there are some trip hazards. So they are suggesting that we remove those trees and grind down the stumps and clean the area up and put in other landscaping to be more suitable for that area. and it'll reduce the trip hazards.
Do they have to be hardwoods?
Well, it doesn't have to be hardwoods because we've got 4,000 hardwoods in the area, and we've got surrounding hardwoods. We can put in adnidia palms or foxtails so that they match the same ones that are in the east side parking lot down by the pool.
Yeah, foxtails would be good.
If necessary. So, and that's why it says the committee agreed that the 3 trees would have to be removed. They'd be replaced with palm trees so that the root system wouldn't interfere with the surrounding area. This is included in the estimate to be a recommendation for the small plots of grass that are difficult to maintain due to the small size, and something to replace the hedge under the trees that's not doing well due to the heavy shade. They'll work on a design and get back with us. Condo fence line inside abutting 41. A discussion of suitable shrubs to replace the ones on the condo side took place. We looked at this area, and several of the condominium individuals over time, along with John, who's down there at the corner, have complained. Kimberly Graham, several residents as well down in that neck of the woods have all complained about the quality and the look and feel of those fence line area. So today's approval of that installation will make a vast difference in the look and feel of that condo area. It should be well received. Pots in the pool decks. Yeah, we're going to have to watch that because of you're right, Lanny, the irrigation. 2 is that you have the pool water there, and it's difficult sometimes for those plants to survive correctly. So we are going to be watching that. Currently, there's one dead in the pool right now. The middle pot, the palm tree is dead, and it'll have to be taken out. There's 11 pots, I think, on the pool deck as it sits, and we're going to probably get those filled up once we move into the fall. A lot of those have irrigation supplied to them. We also will have our staff go ahead and water them during the days that we're not open, and then the people that are on F&B that are working the pool during those F&Bs, we're going to supply them with a watering can, and they're going to be able to water those flowers so that we can keep them without wilting, which is a daily occurrence. Yes, Jeff?
Sounds to me as if we have a particular problem with the plants in and around the pool area. And the problem is lack of irrigation / I would suspect even they get splashed with highly chlorinated water. And
We have salt water. That's the other problem.
why don't we quit fighting that and replace those areas with artificial flowers?
Talk to the landscaping committee.
Job,
Yeah.
whatever you're drinking, change the formula. Oh,
I'm
okay.
drinking.
I don't think Chap's drinking at the moment, Lindy.
It's apparent to me that Lindia doesn't like that idea.
The problem that exists is that you're asking a landscape company that is akin to a bulk service provider to provide manicured garden care to specific things. And that's where it's very difficult when you have flower pots and you're trying to maintain those in a commercial environment, and you have the sprinkler system that we do that is also timed in for other areas around the area. It makes it difficult to maintain the integrity of some of those, if you want to call it fancy, arrangements. So we've, at the request of the landscaping committee, said that the staff will do whatever they can to assist in this endeavor to make sure that during the season that everything looks nice. Once the summertime heat and everybody goes away, we may not have have the pots as pretty as we do during season when the weather's better and then we have the staffing.
Well, fine. I mean, does anybody warm up to the idea of quit fighting this? And put in something that doesn't need all this extraordinary maintenance?
I think we've got it covered now with the staff helping with the watering. The outside pots, the majority of the pots are not near the pool at all, so they don't get any salt water. And the ones in the pool are going to be handled by Brightview. So I think we're okay, and we just didn't plant any flowers all summer. It was too hot. And if you would have had artificial ones, they would have melted. So we just.
What is that? What did you say?
You heard me.
No, I'm afraid I didn't. I can't see you. I can barely hear you.
I know.
All right.
My phone has gone bonkers, and I'm on low battery, so.
All right, I give up.
All right, Chap gives up. Let's go to Lanny.
I think we need to give one more try with proper watering. I think our biggest problem in the past is we didn't have a watering plan. We now have a plan. We'll give it one more try. After that,
Yes.
I will certainly support not having nearly as many plants, but
Okay,
not
Right.
artificial.
okay. Are we wrapped up with landscaping?
Pretty close here, a couple last minute items. The stumps, I contacted a tree stump removal individual. His name is Fernando, just FYI. He did some work for Mark Salazzo in Deer Creek. I got a quote for $100 a stump from Brightview. Fernando did it for $50 and came in and did it right then that day. So if you need to have stumps removed in your yard and you want somebody to do it, he's pretty good and much.
Hey, Mark, what about the stump that's been there for over 2 years?
That's part of the Sterling Smithsonian Stump Museum.
Huh? You know which one I'm talking about, right?
Yeah, we.
Why don't we get rid of it?
We're gonna make it into a monument.
That's what it's, are we gonna get rid of it?
Yes, we'll get rid of it.
Yes.
Thank you.
They're all going.
Thank you.
Brownie.
All right, so
Brownie has a question.
I had a I looked at your list of the discussion. It seemed to me 3 of the items we just voted on to do it already with the money. Am I reading this wrong? In other words, the one
yeah,
about.
I think she wrote some ahead of the. Linda probably wrote this in a couple of phases. She probably put the discussion after.
Okay.
After the approval.
Okay, so it looked like the number 2, number 4, and number 5 on the other concerns is already, we voted to do something about it in other lists. Is that right, Linda?
Yes.
Okay.
I guess.
All right, last but not least, tennis landscaping concerns. In addition to trimming back the hedges around the courts, which was requested by Alan, Lanny contacted Linda regarding some landscaping issues. Linda Moxley spoke with Rick Sanders, chair of the tennis committee, and asked for the committee input on landscaping concerns. The landscape committee has looked at the tennis area and referred to the drainage problem, filler rock pathways, and a request for pavers around the court utility boxes to me. And I have forwarded that on to Alan, and Alan is going to start working on some of those projects, I hopefully fairly soon. So we look at trying to get some of those things cleaned up and taken care of. Those are in those little kind of triangular areas.
Right. So those are going to be addressed by Alan?
The paver side, yes, that's going to be addressed by him.
Okay.
And then there's some drainage issues as well that he's been working on. And that's where they need to trim back those hedges, work around court 1, of course, which is always kind of a pain by the bleachers. And I know that along the walk line in between all the courts there. So I will address those with him and then see what we can get started on that.
Lanny,
Rick did send Linda again the photos of the areas that the tennis committee is concerned about. She indicated that that Alan didn't like Brightview's suggestion of River Rock because of weeds. I think that weeds can be addressed with vinegar and salt, so I'm not sure that that's an absolute concern. I am concerned that only pavers will be such a flat area that there won't be any texture, and that may not give a pleasing appearance. So I would suggest maybe we give it a try, but reconsider River Rock in some of those areas and just address the weeds with vinegar and salt. I mean, that it works really well. It's not harmful to the environment. You know, I think we just don't want everything flat.
Okay.
Thank you.
okay. Have we wrapped up the landscaping report?
Yes.
Okay,
One question, yeah.
go ahead.
I saw the note about if you want mulch, we have to contact Brightsview. I already have, but I would like, I don't know what, before we agree to that approach, I'd like to know what kind of cost numbers they're going to give us. They didn't give us, in other words, that came out, but I put the request in, I haven't gotten an answer back. What's it going to cost us? You know, Suzanne?
Do what?
Well, to get, if you don't want the straw and we want the mulch.
Oh, mulch and the upgrade from pine straw to mulch?
Yeah. I mean,
You're
we have
muted.
not, we've always had kind of a
You're
fee
muted.
where everybody knew. It's kind of hard to ask everybody to request it. We don't know what the option is or anything. We need to have some kind of numbers out there.
Yeah, I agree.
Well, you can, if you're going to do something other than pine straw, you can have anybody do that you want.
That is,
Doesn't have to be Brightsview.
well, that isn't my point. The point is, in previous years, you got a credit back if you wanted to do it and you wanted to do it yourself. We got the note from CSUN. If you wanted your request,
Yeah.
Greenfield. The point is, at this point, it's kind of up in the air because there's no information on what they're going to call, what they're going to charge. Is there going to, if you want to do it all yourself, are we going to get a rebate? Like the board hasn't considered that.
There's going to be no rebate.
No
We've
rebate.
done it every other year.
Yeah, the board changed that. My recollection is we'll do
Can I
pine
chime in?
straw, and if you want mulch, you pay it on your own. Cezanne.
Sure. So the pine straw application is now a part of the contract with Brightview, so it's not something we have to go out and bid. So so there is no credit because they kind of combine it with their whole bulk contract, just like cable and internet. I've asked Juan to get me a pricing list so I can try to help notify the members. He did email me this morning and said he was going to try to get in contact with everybody that submitted a request through the portal this week about confirming your opt-out and or the price to mulch. So you should be getting an answer from him this week, and I will work on getting a price list to include in the FYI.
My point is, it'd be nice to put a price list out there.
I
because
agree.
It's a lot of, first of all,
Yeah.
that just going through the portal is not a very simple thing. Okay, I know everybody likes the portal, but it takes some time. You send it, you get it back. They don't give you an email. You have to go back to the portal, read the email. It's not a very friendly back and forth communication system. Okay, so it'd be nice to at least know ahead of time before you ask something what it might cost. Okay,
Okay,
and the board hadn't addressed it. It just came out.
can we move along?
Doesn't look like anybody wants to talk about mulch, okay? That's usually the condo owners aren't any concerned in it because it doesn't concern you.
Well, we're very worried about your budget.
Well, then I would like to find
Well, then,
out.
so wait till you get the information.
What I want to know is
Brownie?
how was decided that was the way we would do it this year, though? That was
It
the
was
whole
a board resolution early on.
When was that? What meeting?
I can't tell you specifically.
It's
You
when
have
we
that, Cezanne?
I think is when we approve the budget for this
I think-
year.
I
Yes.
think it's when you approved Brightview's contract.
Brightviews contract, yes.
Yeah,
it was the
Brightview's
Bright-
contract.
I
It
mean,
was
I
the Brightview
recall,
contract.
actually,
Lanny, go ahead.
Brownie, instead of having a flat rate, each homeowner will only pay for the mulch that they need. So each homeowner will need to get their own estimate
Exactly.
on what the cost is going to be. So you should be asking for that on the portal. But there is no contract because the difference is we don't have the separate bid for mulch / pine straw. Pine straw is already included in our Brightview contract.
okay, let me ask Cezanne this specific question. Will the price that Brightview give us, will not include the labor since they had to do the labor on pine straw anyway? It'd only be the incremental cost for the mulch? That's the thing I'm concerned about.
I don't know. I don't work for Brightview, but I will ask them for their price list and email it out as soon as I get it.
Well, who's paying Brightview to put the pine straw down?
It's
We
part
are.
of the bulk contract, yes.
Okay, it's the same amount of work whether or not you put the pine straw or the mulch down. So when they give us the price for the mulch, it should only be for the upgrade of the mulch, not for the labor. That's my concern.
I
And
understand.
we should be managing that for the benefit of the homeowners.
I will
Yeah,
mention it to
I
Brightview.
would agree with Brownie on that. The labor should be included.
And since we don't have any numbers, I'm not confident that Brightview's not going to give me a price with a $60 an hour labor charge also, which is already, I shouldn't have to pay because they would do the same labor for the straw.
No, because the minute I plug it in, it loses
And
sound.
so it's not a simple issue, okay? If we haven't looked into it, okay? We should make sure Brightview understands that.
Okay, let's go to Chap, then Lanny.
Ronnie, give me a call. I've got a guy that's gonna do my mulch. And he's great and he's cheap. And I'll give you his name.
I don't want his name. I want this to be done right with Brightview. I'm not doing this for me. I'm doing it for all the homeowners, chap, okay?
Okay,
And the homeowners are paying to put down the pine straw. We shouldn't also be charged to put down the mulch if everybody's getting paid for that labor. Do you understand that, okay? And we need.
We have that concept.
We got
Lanny,
your-
go
we-
ahead.
we
But I
read your
don't have
concept.
any assurance that that's going to happen from the way it's been handled so far. And what I'm hearing is no one seems to have that insurance.
Well, how about we put you in charge of doing that then? Because, I mean, you're gonna get a bid from Brightview. You're gonna either accept it or you're gonna hire Chap Sky.
It
Lanny.
depends-
I think it's erroneous to assume that the labor for a mass spreading is the same as the labor for individual homeowners selecting mulch and different kinds of mulch and that sort of thing. So I would agree that that some discount would be appropriate, but I don't think that I would expect labor to be free because of the mass way that they do the pine straw versus what would be done for various different kinds of mulch. You know, just even figuring out who gets what and delivering it is going to be much more time intensive than the pine straw.
I would agree with that.
I wouldn't agree. I watch it every year and the amount of time they spend pulling the pine straw down is not much different from the mulch, okay?
Well, you're talking about the application. They have to order it, they have to have it delivered, and it's going to be delivered at individual locations at different times. All of that costs money.
Well, then one option is, we should have this option. I can buy the mulch, put it in my front yard, and they'll put it down for me. How's that? Then that excuse goes away.
Well, yeah, that could work if
So
they're
we should,
amenable.
we should have that option then, okay? What I'm
Okay.
saying is, this has been going on for 13 years in a certain way. I don't think it's right. We just take this attitude. We're not going to worry about how it gets done. And I still, if you recall last year, I specifically asked, could we get a price where we would just do everything on the mulch? And we got a lot of argument about is mulch or better. My question is, if pine straw is better than mulch, why do we use mulch for all the common areas? Why is that, Mark? Why do we use
That's
mulch
the
for all the
landscaping,
common?
because that's the landscaping committee's recommendation. They did not
Because-
want pine straw.
That's right. So we
I would
recommend
prefer
mulch
pine
for the
straw
common, but yet
twice a
we
year.
recommend straw for the homeowners. That's in, and I asked last year to get a price, what it would be if we did everything and included it, you know, the whole thing on mulching. We never got that.
I think that we should do pine straw throughout the entire community twice a year, like they do at a lot of other communities, and that way it's
Well,
done right, but.
We're not
I haven't
talking
been able
about
to
the
get that.
hypothetical, Mark.
I
In
know.
our community, we put mulch down for all of the common areas. And yet for the homeowners, we say it's better for them to have pine straw. To me, that's not consistent.
That's the landscaping committee's recommendation in the past.
We're not saying, Ronnie, we're not saying it's better. We know it's cheaper, but we're not saying it's better. So in summary, we have a contract with Brightview that provides mulch for everybody,
Pine straw.
or excuse me, pine straw for everybody. If you don't want it, you let Brightview know, which I have done, so you're opting out. Then you can put down mulch, and whether or not you do that through Brightview or somebody else is your decision.
No, but you're wrong, Shep. It is not pine straw for everybody. It is pine straw for homeowners. It is mulch for all the community areas. That's the whole point. It
By
is
everybody,
not.
by everybody, I mean homeowners.
Yeah,
Okay.
but the community is the homeowner's property also. It is not everybody. We're inconsistent there.
Okay, I have an appointment tonight at 6 o'clock, so I recommend we move things along after we hear from John Mihok.
Yeah, did we ever ask Brightview for a charge for the whole community to get mulch instead of the pine saw? Or can we ask them if we haven't?
If you did that, your cost of landscaping would dramatically increase across the board for
Triple.
everybody that would not want to pay for it.
And we came to that resolution earlier when we decided to go the pine straw route and leave the mulch up to the homeowners. But again, we have much to do, so I'm recommending that we move along. We have no motion on the table, so I'm going to ask that we move to the COVID management plan. And with that, I'll ask Lanny to introduce the two items under the COVID management plan.
I will introduce the current situation. I sent everyone a copy this morning of the Collier County and Lee County data that shows we're finally beginning to see some glimmer of hope. However, I am concerned that with schools opening, this may not last. Certainly, as we look at other communities around the country, we're seeing outbreaks increase again. But I will be tracking this and continue to follow it. I remind you that the Florida guidelines include avoiding gatherings of 10 or more people, and the WHO recommendations that you do not reopen until you've reached the level of 5 or less % of positives for 14 days in a row, And we are not there yet. There's a chance that we will be in a couple of weeks, but we're not there now. In terms of the fitness center, we've had spurts of the fitness center being more crowded. I don't know if it's been visitors or exactly what. A lot of the people I don't recognize. The fitness committee, our fitness project team is asking to have some time reserved for being able to assure that masks are worn within the fitness center. And I move that we require masks to be worn between 1:30 and 2:30 every day.
Do I have a second? Jack seconds the motion.
I
Discussion.
second.
Any discussion? Okay, all in favor of the motion, please indicate by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay, motion carries. Cezanne, make a note that we lost Lindia.
If an hour isn't enough and it's too crowded, I will come back and ask for some more time, because we don't want to have more than 5 of us there. But I don't know at that time of day whether it'll be a problem, but at least give us an opportunity to
So we'll ask
be a little
Cezanne
safer.
to monitor that time and see if we can get a registry of who takes part. Okay, next item.
This is not my suggestion and I recommend against it, so I don't want to bring it up.
Okay, so this is Lindia's recommendation, a request made to open the multi-purpose room for card playing at a maximum of 12 people at a time. First come, first serve. Members must enter through the fitness door using membership cards. Membership must wear face masks as per Collier County orders. Okay, I need someone make that motion, please.
Well, why don't you make it, since you can read it?
All right, I make the motion. I need a second.
Well, I'll second it so we can discuss it.
Okay, let's discuss it. Lanny?
It is in violation of Florida guidelines regarding 12 people per room. So, I think if we consider opening it, it absolutely should be at 10 or fewer, not 12. I am concerned also that it shouldn't be allowed during 1:30 to 2:30. If in fact, I didn't get an answer from you, Mark, are we on the same ventilation system, fitness and multipurpose? I sent you an email.
No, they are separate systems. The one
They're
for the
separate
fitness
systems.
is a
There's
separate
no
box.
There's no
I mean,
exchange
other than it
there.
going through the doorway and stuff like that.
Okay, but okay, all right.
The
Yeah, the air
ventilation
handler for the
system.
fitness room is in the closet as you walk into the multipurpose. I mean,
Okay, great.
the air handlers, yeah, it's a different situation.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, I need to hear from other board members or this motion is going to fail. It's essentially Lindia's proposal and she's not here. So I need to hear something from someone else or we're going to move along. Chat.
Well,
Give me a sense, Mark and Cezanne, for the demand that we are currently frustrating by not having the multipurpose room open. What do you hear?
Cece, I have gotten little to no personal requests
Okay,
other than through Lindia and a couple of the card players.
okay.
I'd have
Many
to,
card players are playing outside under the shade structure under the fan.
And
as
they
those
like
are
to move inside.
what I see. I see a few people play, those that want to gather, they were playing at the pool.
Yeah.
I haven't really had any requests to come inside.
I think that.
So
the
we
people
do
that stay
have
at the
some other
pool-
venues available, the veranda, the pool area, for this kind of activity. And if we limit it to 5 and not 12, then there's very little.
We could limit it to 10, but I mean, I don't see that there's a hue and cry for this right now.
Yeah, and if we follow the guidelines, as we should.
Maybe
Okay, so
for
maybe
October or
we could,
November, when there might be
curtail
more
this.
people here.
Yeah, so
There you go.
unless we have a motion on the floor, is there any further discussion? All in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye. No one says aye, the motion fails. Okay, let's move along to new business and fee proposal. And Cezanne, would you present this?
Lanny, we're not done. What about the water fountain stuff?
I don't think that's a board issue, but I do have some other COVID questions.
Okay,
The water fountain, Alan's looking into whether we can convert, so I don't think the board needs to
Okay.
approve that.
Okay.
Last month, we agreed that someone would develop management plans for bocce, pickleball, and the pool, but I haven't seen anything, and I wondered if someone's still working on those.
I know I am not. Mark?
I have not worked on pickleball and bocce. The pool, as far as we know, that the signs that were up there were still on the 14-day quarantine if you're from out of state. That is not applicable any longer. I'm not really sure if we still are under the 50% occupancy levels at this point in time, but that's where we've stood. We've kept the chairs in that same configuration. We have established that the masks are, mandatory, at least from our staff standpoint. They've been wearing the masks. But
Okay.
I have not heard or done anything about bocce and pickleball at all.
Okay, for the staff masks, would you add that to the management plan in writing when the update goes out? And then the other pool question is, what is the plan if someone who uses the pool finds out that they're infected, or and how are you going to manage that? That was the question that that was the issue that we developed for tennis, and needs to be done for the pool, bocce, and pickleball also.
So we can replicate that.
To some degree, but the question for the pool is, who are people going to report it to, and who's going to manage informing, and who's going to help determine close contacts and inform them? Because certainly there are pool users who are getting within 6 feet of each other.
I don't have an answer for that, because I wouldn't know. It could come from an anecdotal point of view. I was down at the pool, somebody told me that, that they said that so-and-so, they heard that they were infected. I don't know what the management plan would be to say, great, now we need to get contact tracing on that individual. I mean, I don't really know what the staff, portions of the staff would do to manage that, those questions. Because, it'd have to, it's hard to say, you'd have to hear from somebody that they thought that somebody was, or they come to the pool and say, I'm infected and I was here.
I mean,
yesterday.
they could call you on the phone and tell you, I'm infected and I was at the pool yesterday.
Then the only thing that we could do is probably get on the cameras and see if we could identify individuals who was there, put out an e-blast to state, if you were at the pool the other day,
Okay.
we've received word that we've got an infectious person. We could do that, but I think that, that's how.
Well,
else
and I
we-
think that plan should be thought through and developed and written up so that people know what to expect. I would certainly ask, very much like we did in tennis, for people to report, and just, it can't be their court captain. You just need to assign who that's going to be reported to.
Okay. All right, I'll work on it with Cece and see if we can get something together.
Good, and work with Jack in terms of pickleball. He is the liaison, isn't he?
Yeah.
So,
And John, are you the liaison for bocce?
I'm not sure. I was involved with bocce for one project. Whether or not that developed into being a liaison or not, I've never been updated on that.
so just work with Jack, Mark on pickleball, and we'll just
I
replicate.
had to take an emergency call. I missed the conversation for a minute.
We're just going to beef up the COVID plans for pickleball and the pool and bocce. So pickleball and bocce should essentially be pretty close.
Well, I don't think they're any different than what we've been using. There's nobody on the pickleball courts most of the time.
Yeah, but still we'll have a plan that reflects the what
Yeah.
ifs.
I see players
We'll have
almost
something
every
in
morning.
place.
I see players at pickleball almost every morning when I go
Right.
out.
But they're very
John,
few, right?
4 or 8. I mean, not 20 or anything. John,
Right.
you are the official liaison according to the website for bocce.
Yeah, it hasn't been a whole lot of activity going on, John, that's why. Anyway, Mark, you can coordinate this with the players.
You bet.
Okay. Let's move along then. Okay. Anything else on COVID management? We're good? Okay, let's go to fee proposal. Cezanne, you're on.
Sure. So when working on the budget, as always, we try to find some ways to increase our income to offset the HOA fee increase. These are 3 different ways we looked and discussed about increasing our income to increase these fees. These are generally not related to current Sterling Oaks homeowners. They affect the income of new homeowners or people renting here. So the first one is to increase the capital contribution fee at a resale, which is $2,500 to $3,000 for new homeowners. If a current homeowner is buying a second property, the fee will remain $750. Then this increase will be effective for all sales contracts signed after January 1st. In the latest Beekman report I got this morning, the average capital resale fee in the area is $3,790. So we are only proposing to increase it to $3,000.
Okay, you want,
I
we'll
move
take
that
these
we,
separately?
Yeah.
I
Okay.
move that we increase the resale capital fee from $2,500 to $3,000 for new owners. If a current owner is buying a second property, the fee will remain $750. The increase in fee will be effective for all sales contracts signed after 1/1/21.
I need a second. Brownie, are you
I'll
seconding?
second, and then.
Okay.
And then want to discuss.
Okay, start us off with discussion.
Okay, Cezanne, 2 things. Just remind me, it's been too long since, who pays that fee, the new person or the old person?
Generally the new person.
Okay, okay. And second question, you said the average was 3,700. Did you look at that? Are you looking at the communities that are in our price range, or does that include the $1 million homes or not? In other
It
words,
includes some of the $1 million homes. It's the Beekman report is a survey done of all most of the communities, like 80 communities in Southwest Florida. So it does include clubs like Gray Oaks and Port Royal, but then us and.
so that 3,700 may be a little high.
That's the average. The median is 3,500. So we're not asking to go up there. We're saying just 3,000. So we're not even meeting that average or median.
Well, again, being a number person, unless I see the numbers, there could be you only need to have a couple that have a high number to bring that up, or even the median. So
I understand. We don't see the numbers. We just see the average. And the
I
median.
see. You didn't do that. Okay.
No. This is
I see.
completely
But
third.
it does. So in that case,
Hold on, Cece.
Yes,
On page 51.
I looked at the bundled community section of the Beekman this morning, not private.
That's correct. This is for fees and dues of bundled communities only, not the private clubs like Mediterra, Gray Oaks, or whoever. This is the joining resale capital contribution fee. The average is $37.90. The median is $35. The high is $7,500, and the low is $500. And this is 20 those communities reporting.
Okay. Okay, that answers.
All right, any further discussion? If not, I'll call for a vote. All in favor, please indicate
Aye.
saying aye. Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously.
So the next one is the same thing. It's generally paid by the buyer at the time of a sale. It's our resale administration fee. Our current cost is $150. We would like to increase this to $250. This fee is not included in the Beekman report, so I could not compare it to other communities. But same thing, to increase the fee will be effective for all sales contracts after January 1st.
Okay, I need a motion.
So
Lanny
moved.
makes the motion. I need a second.
Second.
Michael seconds. Any discussion? If there are no discussion, I'll ask for approval. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Last item.
The last item is in regards to our rental transfer / amenity fee. Current fee is $250. It was proposed to kind of break this fee out depending on the length of lease. So if your proposed fee, the lease being from 1 month to a 3-month rental, it's $350. For 4 months to a 12-month rental, it's $500. And we noted that any extensions will be a $50 fee. We do have some people that rent for 3 months and then say, well, I kind of want to stay for 2 more weeks. We generally let that go. Our maximum lease here is 1 year, but now that would bump them into the next category for fees. So we're going to add that anytime we have to do any paperwork to any extensions, there'll be an additional $50 fee to do so. 12-month leases obviously cannot apply for an extension because our documents only let us look at a lease up to 12 months. And then we have the fee increase will be effective for all rentals submitted to the club office after January 1st, 2021.
Mark.
This is specific to the rental reform as part of the strategic plan.
Right. Okay.
moved.
We have a motion. I need a second.
Second.
Chap seconds. Discussion.
I just have a question, Suzanne, just to clarify. So if someone has a 3-month rental and they want to stay a 4th month, will they just be charged the $50 or will they be charged the $150 difference between a 3 and a 4 month rental and $50?
The way I initially thought of it would be $50.
Okay. I would think that would be appropriate unless it were converted to a year. And
yeah, because like we see sometimes people will rent January, February, and March, and then they really love it here and they want to stay an extra 2 weeks.
right.
We, have to go.
That happened this year a lot because people
Yeah.
stayed an extra
That's right.
COVID.
Yeah.
Yes.
We're increasing this, so we get the benefit from it. We don't need to kill people on this issue either.
Yeah. Okay.
Brownie.
I just wanted to be
Yeah.
clear.
I have trouble with the concept of it being different for 1 month versus 4 versus 12. Plus, I think it'll get into a lot of things we just talked about. Someone who can play a game or something. We've always had a $250. I'm not against raising it to $350, but I don't understand the logic charging someone more because it's a longer term rental. It's a transfer amenity fee. It's the same amount of administrative work and handling it, whether or not it's 1 month or 10 months or 12 months. So I have
So-
trouble with that concept. Plus, I think it will cause some administrative problems, people playing a game that we just talked about.
Well, this was Lindia's
I mean, you know,
concept.
what I would say is, once you know that, what we just talked about, well, if I wanted to rent it, I mean, I don't rent, but I would never rent over 3, and then I will always extend it afterwards, so I'll save $100, okay? You know, see, people can play games on it that way, which they
Well,
could.
which people are gonna know this?
Oh,
Not,
we're not gonna be transparent, John? We're not gonna be transparent about it, how we're gonna do it? Now, I would
yeah.
hope we would let people renting know what the rules are.
Well, sure.
But I just have trouble with the concept of why it should be more for if the.
Well,
lot
it's
of rental is 40.
unfortunate that Lindia tuned out on us. This was her recommendation.
one of the things we talked about in the executive committee was to raise the fee for a 1 month rental to some number and then add $50 a month for extra months. So that was one concept, but everything becomes a question of what makes less work and more sense, so.
And as I recall, Lindia's concern was we added transfer amenity / amenity fee, because if a person is here 1 month and they tax the amenities, that's one thing. But if they're here for 4 months and they're using the amenities, it should be a comparable user fee, if you will. And I think that's what her concept was.
Well, that's not true. You got to remember the owner is paying the amenity fee every month. So that's not a good logic. In other words, we're getting the amenity fee from the owner even if he's rented. So that doesn't make sense that we should now charge more. And I think
What?
you know, we have 78 or I remember that number is pretty high. I think we need to think a little bit about our neighbors. I'm not sure that.
Well, I think you mentioned
I'm
it.
confused.
That number is high, and we really don't want to encourage transiency in the community. So it's not a matter of encouraging rentals in the community. If anything, I personally would rather discourage it. And I think this assists.
We've got people who rent properties. I think we've got somebody on the board. Again, I don't think we should be deciding if our regulations require or allow the 1 month, 2 month, 12-month rentals. I don't think it's our job to encourage or not encourage it, because people that might buy to rent, we shouldn't be discouraging them not to do that. We're basically discouraging property values when we do that. So
Well, I disagree with all of that. I think generally speaking, and I think we saw it in the survey, that a community does not like transients. And the more permanent residents we have, the better the community. Lanny.
I think another point, because I agree with Brownie, of course, that homeowners are paying an amenity fee, but I believe that renters use the pool on average more heavily than homeowners. I know when I went around the pool encouraging people to complete the survey, almost everyone at the pool was a renter. There were hardly any owners there. It was after a board meeting, so it was in the afternoon.
And the fitness center also.
Excuse me?
And fitness also has that same.
Yes, that's right. We definitely have a big increase there.
Well, but so we're telling that the bocce league is mostly renters also. So, or more than half are. So I'm not clear what we're trying to establish here, but as you know, I own 2 properties and I rent one out, and I'm limited to 3 times a year I can rent. So if I rent for 3 1-month times, that's my limit. If I rent for 3 3-month times, I can do that. But most of the time, the property I have is more than half the year is vacant, or if it's used by family and friends. So I pay the fees for owning that property, and I charge to people that come in here to rent for me an amount commensurate with whether a fee structure is, and they either decide or not to decide to rent based upon that. So
right.
I'm not sure what we're worried about. You know, there's.
Well, I think we have two things going on. We're looking at a revenue source, and we may not all be on this page, but I think a reduction in transiency is good for the community as far as I'm concerned. Whether or not this will affect that, I don't think so. I don't think it's that big of an issue.
Our initial proposal was just to increase the fee from $250 to $350. I do agree. I do believe that the administrative fee for any lease extensions each time of $50 should go into effect, because it is a lot of work that we have to do in our office to just make sure we get the new lease agreement and make sure their cards and barcodes are active. I don't care either way if you do one fee for one and one fee for the other length of lease. This was just what was requested, so we had to try to come up with something to.
Cezanne, excuse me, Cezanne, who came up with the idea of just increasing from 250 to 350? Was that out of you guys, out of your administrative?
It was out of our office with CHAP and the Finance Committee in regards to looking at the budget, trying to make more revenue to, reduce your HOA increase. In addition, the average rental fee in the bundled communities is $408. So even if the $350 increase, we're not reaching that average of bundled community cost.
Just make sure, I'm not against raising it to 250 to 350, but as this motion with the additional for the other months, I will vote against it, not just because of the dollar amount, because I think in principle it doesn't make sense to charge more for a longer rental.
Well, I feel, as Lanny suggested, that there's quite a wear and tear. We're amenity rich, and there's quite a wear and tear on the pool area, the fitness area, the bocce, all of these areas. And we whine and cry when we have to replace that, or when bocce requests another court, or just the discussion today around the pool and how we're going to irrigate things and let's put it to rest. Well, all of that costs money. So this is one way of increasing our revenue, but it's another way of suggesting that there's a lot of wear and tear on amenities and we need to recoup some money. And again, I get back to the transient issue. And I don't think our community wants a lot of transients, and to not do this would simply encourage it.
Well, so just let me understand why there's this perception that we have transients in the community now. People rent here for a year at a time. Do you consider those, and maybe they don't use any of the amenities, but they pay for it one way or another in the fees, I guess. But so are you suggesting that those people are different than the normal renters that have come here year after year?
No, what I'm suggesting is we've had a lot of issues in the past with renters who don't behave along the way, and that's a minority, granted, but you may see a lot of it maybe in the condo areas more so than the other areas where people are coming
What's
and
that have
going.
to do with the fees we're talking about?
Well, I'm just saying, you asked, is there a concern about transients in the community? And in my
But
experience,
that's not related to the fees we're going to charge, is it? Because the landlord determines what price he charges to rent, and the contract he sends to the tenant is either includes the fees or he absorbs them in the monthly cost of the rental. So I'm just having trouble trying to figure out what's going on.
Cezanne, could you reread the motion, please?
The current motion is to increase fee incrementally based on the length of the lease. Proposed fees: 1 month to 3 month lease is $350. 4 month to 12 month lease is $500. Any lease extensions will have a $50 administrative fee. Fee increase will be effective for all rentals submitted to the club office after January 1st.
All right, so what we're down to is a small disagreement about whether, when you go beyond 3 months, it goes up to 500, right?
Correct.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure we understood what we agreed on and what we are still debating. That's all.
Brownie,
Okay, I make a motion to amend the motion to just the increasing to 350 for any rental transfer fee. See if I get a second, then we,
I'll second that.
well, we have a motion on the floor, do we not?
Yeah, but he can amend.
I can amend it, and you
amend
got
it,
a
though.
second, and I got
Yeah.
a second.
Did we get a second?
Yeah, I second it.
Chap seconded.
Uh,
You have to
Okay.
vote on the
So you're
amendment.
okay with leaving the extension as $50 for one time?
Yes.
Well, that would be academic if it's only 350.
No, it's not. If you have a 4-month rental and you extend it for a month, it's $50 extra.
Yeah, okay, I guess if it was extension, there's an administrative fee. Yeah, we could do that. Yeah. So I'll make the motion, my motion I make is to increase from 250 to 350, but charge $50 if someone extends a lease, the original period. Okay.
So you're
All right.
only deleting the 4 to 12 month portion.
Yeah, and I'm
That's
not,
all. That's all.
I'm not deleting the idea of having two different fees depending on the length.
I got it.
So what would the fee be for someone that, so it's, the rental fee is between 1 month and 12 months then?
It's
It could be
350.
350, that's what I said.
All right.
350. So the motion is just to increase the 250 to 350, but if someone extends a lease, we'd charge them $50 for that administrative trouble. Another way of looking at it.
Okay, any further discussion? Okay, all in favor of this motion?
No, it's just the amendment we're voting on.
We're voting on the
Yes.
amendment, okay.
Okay.
Yes. Yes, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And I oppose. Okay, 2 oppose. What are the numbers? Let's, Lanny and I oppose, the others, I presume, are
1,
4.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Okay, so the motion carries. Okay, what do we do with the other motion on the table? It's been amended, so it's done.
No, we vote, now we vote on the motion as it has been amended.
I
Well,
thought we
no.
just did that.
No, we
No,
don't,
we only voted on the amendment.
no, but if the amendment passes, the original motion, you don't vote on. But we voted on the amended motion.
We voted on the amended motion.
If it had not passed, then we'd have to vote on the original amendment, I think. I'm not sure. Who's our
I think
parliamentary?
we have to vote on it. It's no big deal. So let's vote on.
Let's just do
on
it
the
again.
amended
I'm gonna
motion.
call Robert's rule, Robert.
Yeah,
Let's-
yeah, I
I know a
think
guy
we
named
should
Bob Rule, so I'm gonna call him and ask him.
I think we should have tabled the other motion or dispatched with it, but whatever. Can you read the original motion?
No, read the amended
The
motion.
amended motion.
The
But we
amendment.
just voted on that.
We just passed the amended motion.
Yes, you did.
Okay.
I will
We
just
passed
make
the
a
amended
by the
motion. I think we're
original
done
motion
here.
that The motion was amended and passed, therefore this motion fails.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
right.
All right, let's leave it there.
That's sure, that's right.
Okay.
The motion, say what you said again, Suzanne?
I will make a note, since nobody agrees on Robert's Rule of Order, to the above motion, that motion was amended and passed, therefore that motion failed.
Okay.
The original motion failed.
Okay.
All right, Cezanne.
And I'm gonna call Robert later on.
You know what to do now, Cezanne.
Yes, I will work on the fixing
Yeah.
and I'll send it to you.
Okay, good.
Okay. It looks like we're closing in. Looks like date of the next board meeting. Oh, let's see.
Vote for January of 2021.
I'll second that.
We need to approve the budget before then.
Okay, let's look at, Thursday will be a problem for you, Brownie, in the morning?
in the morning, we have the regular meeting. Every now and then it gets canceled like that one time, but it's always subject to coming back. And basically every Thursday morning at 11 o'clock, have a meeting with basically our manager, okay? It's kind of a standard thing. Every now and then it gets canceled. He's on vacation or something like that, but it's a standing meeting, yeah, okay.
Okay, I cannot do the afternoons. So I can do a
So can we
Monday,
do Wednesday?
To me,
I can do-
Wednesday would be a good day.
Wednesday.
Yeah.
I think I could do Wednesday. Yeah,
If
I
it
could
was the
do Wednesday.
Morning or afternoon?
Let's try the morning.
Yeah, the morning would be better.
What day are you looking at?
Wednesday, the 23rd at 9 o'clock. How does that look?
9 o'clock?
Yeah,
Okay.
What time? 9?
yes.
Will we have had the budget and the homeowners have the budget long enough for that?
We don't need to pass the budget in September.
Oh, I
It's
thought,
not going to
I
be
thought,
published
I
until
thought-
That's a
December.
little early. That's a little early, yeah.
okay. I thought Suzanne was saying we needed to pass it,
You
sorry.
said you wanted to
can.
have a meeting in January. I said we need.
Yeah, gotcha.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, we usually do it in October, early November. Plenty of time.
So the 23rd, 9 o'clock?
Okay.
That good
And
with
then-
everyone?
Yeah,
Will that give
And
us enough time
Suzanne?
with finance, chap?
Yeah,
Okay.
And Cesar, the Zoom meeting will come out in an email from you 1 or 2 days before the election with the board packet?
yeah.
Generally, I've been including the Zoom meeting information in the email with your board packet. So
Okay.
it's one email for
Well,
every.
let's put that in the, maybe we need to put that in the board minutes.
I sat here the whole time waiting for Mark's email. And
I
then
did it
when-
the last time, so, but I learned this month.
Okay.
Yeah, me too.
Okay, so we're good.
We were
Chap,
so
there'll be-
used to operating without Cezanne. We were waiting for Mark to tell us what to do, you know, it's like, we have to remember now who's really in charge of these meetings.
Well, the truth of the matter is, if it's in an email and it's 2 or 3 days old, I've got 50 emails since then, so I have to go back and search for it. And if it doesn't have, and the title on it did not say Zoom, it just
I'll try
said
to include Zoom
packet.
link.
Yeah,
Just
So
remember,
with-
every email that comes from me is very, very important and you should flag it and save it forever.
Yeah, I don't understand why you would miss any email from Cezanne, Ronnie. It's-
so Cezanne, if you could also put in the title Zoom, put
Yeah,
the
I
board
will.
packet in Zoom. Yeah.
Or pay attention.
Yeah.
Pay attention this time.
You're asking a lot. Chap, we're okay on the 23rd with the Finance Committee.
yeah.
Okay. Then so be it. 9 o'clock on the 23rd, we'll meet again.
Okay.
Thank you all.
Bye-bye.
All right,
All right.
have a good
For
day.
now.
See you later, folks.
Don't we have to have a motion to adjourn?
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
So moved.
Second.
Second, all in favor, unanimously approved.
Unanimous.
Thank you very much, John.
All right.
Okay.
See you
Hey,
all
Terry.
on
Hey,
23rd.
Terry. Oh, Terry left. I was asked